Hi guys, and welcome to Little Wicket Railway. I'm Rob, and in this video we're looking at Hornby's Cornish Carrier train set. This is Hornby reference R1222 and it's currently available from Argos for £65, which is £10 cheaper than you could have got this from Argos last year. I don't know if this is exclusive to Argos, and there's nothing on the box to say that it is, but I haven't managed to find this anywhere else, so do let me know if you've managed to find this in any other shops. If Argos is the only place you can buy this set and you're thinking about getting one, then keep in mind that they often do discounts. I think this was 20% off when I got it last year, so it might be worth waiting until one of those promotions is available. Right, let's take a closer look at the box, open it up and see what we get inside. Hornby have plenty of variations on this type of set, most of them with a regional connection, and it's clear from the name Cornish Carrier and the box that this train comes from Cornwall. We've got a map of Cornwall in this corner and what I assume is a view over the Cornish coast up here, which makes overall a very attractive box. Being from Cornwall, it looks like we're getting a Great Western Railways train, and down here in the corner it says, "The halcyon days of British railways are epitomised by the numerous small branch lines and light railways that crisscross the countryside. The Cornish Carrier set embraces those small local trains, the smartly liveried 040 locomotive making easy work of hauling the wagon and vent van around the oval of track included in the set." A quick look at the back and we've got a bit of marketing with all the options for expanding the set. So let's open this up and see what we're getting and how it runs. So the whole thing is in one of those polystyrene trays, and I'm not the biggest fan of these. We'll need to be careful when handling it to avoid damaging the packaging. I much prefer the newer pulp tray cardboard containers. At least they've put little holes in the bottom of the polystyrene tray for you to push your fingers through when removing the models. This is an analogue train set and we've got the analogue controller down here with the power adapter, and I know a lot of people don't like this style of controller. They say it feels cheap and plasticky. Yeah, okay, it's not the most substantial piece of equipment and the Hornby sticker looks a bit naff, but overall I don't mind it too much. It's simple to operate with the direction switch and the speed dial, and it won't let you switch from forward to backwards until the speed is set to 0, which is a good feature to avoid damaging your locos. It's also very quick to cut out if there's a short circuit, which is a good safety measure. However, it can take quite a while to reset after a short circuit, and that's my main issue with it. But I suppose that's better than it resetting too quickly before you fix the fault. Then we've got the track work up here. It's a large oval with third radius curves and a couple of short straight pieces in there, one of which has a power connection on it. Under the tray we've got the standard pack of instructions, the orange rerailer to help you get everything onto the track, and a track mat to build your layout on. I've said previously I really like the track mat because it quickly adds some life to your layout and it provides a clean surface to run your trains on, so it stops the locomotive from picking up dust and fluff. Now let's take a look at the models. So as the box said, we've got an open wagon and a vent van. We'll take a closer look at those in a second, but over here we've got the locomotive and I'll start by getting this out. It's an 040 locomotive, meaning that it's got 4 driving wheels, and it's in that classic Great Western green with the gold GWR branding down the sides. Also down the sides we've got the running number 597, again in that lovely gold colour. The body shape looks to me like the Holden 101 tank engine design, which Hornby seem rather fond of, but I'm prepared to be corrected on that. Let me know if I've got that wrong in the comments below. I did have a Google to see if Great Western had a locomotive with running number 597, and I think they did, but it was a 062 tank engine that came across from the Taff Valley Railway. Again, I'm prepared to be corrected on that one. Let me know if I've got it wrong in the comments. But I think it's safe to say that this may not be 100% historically accurate. But that doesn't mean it's not a nice model. There's plenty of gold detail on the chimney, the dome and the valves. The rails are moulded but painted to stand out. We've got some moulded steps on either side going up into the cab, which has an interior which is also again moulded in black. We've got a small amount of coal here at the back. There's a simple valve gear and cylinder arrangement. We've got the red buffer beam and fixed plastic buffers. There is a space at the front to attach a vacuum pipe, and the pictures on the front show it running with a vacuum pipe, but I couldn't see one in the box, but I may have taken it out when I opened it originally. If it didn't come with them and you wanted to add them for a bit of extra realism, then you can pick those up for a couple of pounds on eBay. Moving on to the wagons. We've got the Aranig Granite Company Limited wagon in the red, and hopefully I've pronounced that right, and it's got lots of nice printed detail along the sides. As it says, the company is based near Bala in northwest Wales, and whilst I'm sure these wagons made it all over the country, it's a shame they couldn't have found a wagon with some Cornish link to keep the Cornish theme flowing through the set. There's not much else in terms of detail. A single colour has been used for the planking and the supports. There's no detail moulded on the inside, and there's no granite load in there either. It's got metal wheels and it runs really smoothly, and it's got the standard wide fixed couplings. Moving on to the vent van in the brown with the Great Western initials on the side, we've got number 754 down here in the corner. Unfortunately the doors don't open, but the moulding is pretty nice and you can see the locks and the bolts on there. Again, the wheels are metal and we've got the wide couplings. However, the couplings on this wagon are clipped in and removable, unlike the open wagon. So overall, as you might expect for a starter train set, the level of detail is pretty basic, but good enough. These models would certainly stand up to a lot of use, as there aren't too many pieces that could be easily damaged. Let's get the locomotive on the rolling road and see how it performs. So we've got number 597 on the rolling road. Let's turn it up to halfway and get it moving. Okay, so that's running pretty smoothly and it's not too noisy. These 040 engines usually have quite a high top speed, so let's turn it up to the max and see what happens. So yeah, just as I thought, it will go pretty quick if you turn it up to the max, although probably not as ridiculously fast as I was expecting. But I'm sure it's still a lot quicker than the prototype ever went. Let's bring it back down to half power. Right, now for the real test. Let's see if this can go nice and slow. So that's about as slow as I can get it, and it's not crawling along, but it is running really smoothly, which is nice to see. And that's a realistic slow speed to be running this engine at, so I'm pretty impressed with that. So yeah, overall this small 040 seems to run really quite well. So overall, what do we think of Hornby's Cornish Carrier train set? Well, I think it makes a great starter set and it would be a good way for someone to get into the hobby. The models are robust and the little 040 engine runs really well. If you can pick this up for less than £60, ideally closer to 50, then it's reasonably good value. But with only a single loop of track and a couple of wagons, I think it wouldn't be long before you wanted to expand your layout. And that's not a problem. Hornby have the track pack system to easily allow you to grow your layout. However, if you can afford it, it might be worth spending a little bit more on one of Hornby's larger sets. These often come with an extra wagon or coach, a siding, and usually the locomotive is a bit larger. And often that locomotive is DCC ready. And that's another thing to consider. If you're thinking about going digital in the future, then it's probably not worth buying one of these sets. The locomotive is analogue, and although it's not impossible to fit a decoder into one of these locomotives, it is quite fiddly and does involve some soldering. If you like the set but don't fancy the Great Western locomotive, or you prefer something that was more based in your region of the country, then Hornby have released loads of variations on this train set. For example, also available at the moment is the Highland Rambler set, which is basically the same, but it's set in the north of Scotland and it's pulled by a blue pug. And I own the version of this set in the Midlands and it's pulled by a red LMS loco. Also, because these sets are so popular and they're released so frequently, they do come up often second hand, so it's worth keeping your eye on eBay and the other auction sites to see whether you can get a bargain. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give me a like and a subscribe. As usual, I will leave you with some shots of the Cornish Carrier hauling its wagons around Little Wicket. Thanks for watching and I will hopefully see you again soon.